Today I'm going to be reading a story called The House in the Hole in the Side of the Tree, written by Gilbert Beers, illustrated by Jan Jones. "Well, what do you want?" Squire the Squirrel growled. He looked so angry that the Chipmunk twins almost ran away. That is, do you have a hammer that we could borrow?" they almost whispered. "No," shouted Squire the Squirrel. "What do you think this is, a hardware store?" Then he slammed the door so hard that the tree shook, and his house in the hole in the side of the tree shook too. Squire mumbled and grumbled all the way up the stairs. He looked around his house to be sure that it was all right. He had not made the house very well. He knew that he must stop slamming doors or the whole house would fall down. "I really should build a better house in a better place," Squire grumbled to himself. "These neighbors never do anything for me. All they ever do is borrow hammers and things." Of course, Squire the Squirrel never thought to ask himself what he did for his neighbors. Just then, Squire heard something at his window. "Woo-hoo!" someone said. Squire opened his window and stared in the face of Oscar Owl sitting on a big limb of a big tree. "Nosy neighbors," Squire mumbled. "They're even sitting in trees outside my window. What do you want, Oscar?" "What do I want?" Oscar began to think. "Yes, what do I want? I've seemed to have forgotten. I know that I was to remember not to forget something, but now I've forgotten what I was supposed to remember not to forget." "I suppose you want to borrow something too," Squire shouted. "Why, yes, of course," said Oscar. "How thoughtful of you to remember. But what was I to borrow? Let me think. Oh, yes, I need a stationery nick. Oh, dear, no, I mean a measuring stick." Squire slammed his window so hard that a board fell from the house in the hole in the side of the tree. "If I had a measuring stick, I'd wrap it around his silly neck," Squire grumbled. Squire flopped down in a big chair. It was very quiet now in the house. He thought for a moment that it would be nice to have some friends. But just as he started to think that, he heard a noise outside. Bang, bang, crash, bang. Squire ran to the window and opened it wide. He could not see anything special, but he could still hear that noise. Then Squire shouted as loud as he could, "Will you be quiet?" Of course, Squire didn't know that he was making more noise than the noise was making. Squire had just slammed the window shut when he heard somebody knocking on the door downstairs. When he opened it, there was his next tree neighbors, smiling and looking very happy squirrels. "Do you have a saw that we could borrow?" they started to say. But Squire slammed the door without bothering to answer. That night, Squire laid in his bed for a long time, looking at the big moon over his next tree neighbor's tree. He felt very lonely and he felt very sad. Squire knew he really wanted some friends, but he knew that he would never have friends by slamming doors and windows and shouting when they tried to be friendly. With these thoughts running through his mind, Squire fell asleep. While he slept, Squire dreamed that a hammer and saw were chasing him. He ran to each neighbor's house to ask for help. But each time he tried to talk, someone slammed a door or a window. At last, the hammer and saw chased him all the way home. As he locked himself in the house, Squire felt more lonely and sad than he'd ever felt. Then he sat down and cried, but there was no friend to help him feel better. The next morning, Squire woke up suddenly. Someone was knocking on his door. He ran down the steps and opened the door. Squire almost expected to see a big hammer and saw standing there, ready to chase him again. But instead, he saw all his neighbors laughing and looking very happy. Squire started to say, "Well, what do you want?" But he didn't. Then he started to slam the door. But he didn't. He kept thinking about his dream. He knew how it felt to have someone slam a door when someone came to see him. Squire was happy that a hammer and saw was not chasing him now. He was very happy that his neighbors were not slamming doors, and he was very, very happy that they had come to see him. "Will you come in?" Squire asked. "Will you have breakfast with me?" Later, they all shouted cheerfully, "Come with us, we have a surprise for you." Then Squire's neighbors took him to a big tree not far away. Inside the big tree was a big hole, and in the big hole was a beautiful new house. "It's your new house," they all shouted. "We made it for you because we like you and want to be your friend." Squire the Squirrel was so ashamed that he could not even look at his wonderful neighbors. While he had been shouting at them and slamming doors and windows, they had been making a house for him. "I'm sorry I've been so grumpy," he said. "I'll never slam a door or a window again when you come to see me." "Dear me," said Oscar the Owl. "I seem to have forgotten to remember that you slam doors and windows." The Chipmunk twins began to laugh. Then the next tree neighbors began to laugh. Even Squire the Squirrel began to laugh. Then all the friends went inside to look at Squire's new house and the hole in the side of the tree.
Thank you for watching, kids. Bye!
Bye!